What is up, magical people? Manny the Mage here, and with Season 0 of Marvel Rivals coming to a close, and with the announcement of the Fantastic Four as the new upcoming heroes in Season 1, we have our first look at some gameplay of the one and only Mr. Fantastic. So in today's video, I'm going to be breaking down this new trailer and taking an in-depth look at the moveset that Mr. Fantastic has to offer. Now before we get into today's breakdown, let me know in the comment sections who your current main is and which member of the Fantastic Four you are looking forward to picking up the most. But with that said, let's get started on our breakdown of this new Mr. Fantastic trailer.
That was simple.
So to start things off, we get to see what looks like Mr. Fantastic's basic melee attacks, with him extending his arms to land his attacks. Now the first thing I noticed in this trailer is it's set in what appears to be a new map, which looks like New York City with a glowing red sky in the background. This seems to be obviously connected to the sort of vampiric theme of this new season, resembling the city under the full red moon that we saw in the initial Season 1 trailer. Now the next thing that I notice is there appears to be some sort of meter underneath the reticle that seems to be charging up about 5 points each time he lands an attack on one of his opponents. Now what exactly this meter is used for comes up later in the trailer, so stick around if you want to get a glimpse of what exactly this enables him to do. We can also see this base health appears to be around 350, which makes him pretty stocky compared to your average DPS character. I also noticed that during his fight with Hela and Squirrel Girl, after he extends his fist, there's a slight delay before it returns to him, and upon his arm stretching back, he seems to do damage to anything that his fist connects with on the return path back to his body. Now if you take a look at the bottom right corner, you can see his 3 unique abilities. One that appears to bind the opponent, another that shows him with an enlarged body, possibly blocking or reflecting an oncoming attack, and the third which shows an enlarged hand that appears to have 2 charges on it. And I won't go into too much speculation now about what exactly these abilities do, as they get shown off later in the video, but it already looks like he's going to have one of the most unique movesets we've seen of any DPS duelist character so far.
I've got you! Double the failure!
Now in this next section of the trailer, we see Mr. Fantastic engaging with Captain America and an Iron Man in front of what looks to be like some kind of Avengers-related building. And it doesn't seem tall enough to be the Avengers Tower, but this is the first Avengers-related area we've seen in Marvel Rivals so far. So I'm interested in see how the Avengers will play a role in some of the background story for Season 1. And as this section goes on, we see him use his first ability on the left, which appears to allow him to bind both Captain America and toss them into one another, doing just enough damage to finish him off with one of his basic attacks.
Maximum, let me return the favor.
Now in this next clip, Mr. Fantastic is fighting Penny Parker in what appears to be some sort of Stark laboratory with a giant Iron Man style mech suit suspended in the air. Now it's also worth noting that in this clip he appears to have an additional ability, likely from a team up with Mrs. Fantastic, that has an icon that resembles a force field. Not quite sure what this ability means yet, but as this section of the trailer goes on, we see him take use of the ability mapped to left shift, which appears to allow him to intercept Iron Man's ult and redirect it back at him. So from what it looks like, it's going to be a very bad time being an Iron Man going up against Mr. Fantastic.
I'm as strong as Ben.
Now for this next part of the trailer, he appears to be taking use of the ability mapped to the E key, which looks like it can be used on both enemies and allies alike. This causes him to grapple forward onto Mrs. Fantastic, growing large in the process, while also causing the meter underneath his reticle to fill up significantly. Now he also appears to have gained some additional health, similar to characters like Venom or Wolverine, though I'm not quite sure if this is a result of his ability or an ability being used by Mrs. Fantastic here. But in this clip, we finally get an answer as to what the meter underneath his reticle actually does, and it looks like with it he's able to activate an ability that lets him grow in size and almost double his health pool to about 600. So from what it looks like, Mr. Fantastic is going to be able to perform as a Vanguard character temporarily, increasing both his damage output and defense.
Success.
And for the final section of this trailer, we get to see his ultimate attack, which shows him jumping in the air and slamming down not only once, but up to 6 times before finally ending. Now this ultimate looks like it's going to be one of the most devastating we've seen out of any duelist so far in the game, and personally I would hate to be on the receiving end of this in a close match. So from what I can tell, it looks like Mr. Fantastic is going to be sort of the first hybrid character that we've seen that kind of mixes elements of a normal duelist that you're used to, as well as some Vanguard aspects that we've seen in characters like Venom, or even to some degree the Hulk. And his ultimate ability looks like it's going to be the perfect setup for team wipes, as well as some maybe interesting flanking. So I'm excited to see how people decide to use him once they actually get their hands on him here. But with that said, it looks like we've reached the end of the trailer and the end of today's video. So as always, if you like this, be sure to hit that like button. If you found it informative, be sure to subscribe. I'm going to be trying to put out more Marvel Rivals Season 1 content to come, so stick around for that here. As always, I've been Manny the Mage, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.
That was simple. I've got you. Double the failure. Maximum. Let me return the favor. I'm as strong as Ben. Success.
You have been sheltered by the light for far too long. The time has come for darkness to reign. Soon, your resolve will begin to crumble. You'll be stretched too thin. There will be nowhere left to hide.